Certainly, this was not the worst you've ever seen.
Well, it's definitely not the worst, but it was the one that I think kind of just shocked me because it was the first time that I've seen actually like children involved in just like elderly couples. So it was
maybe the worst.
Yeah, so I think for that was a shocker, and I think it'd be good to talk about it now. But seeing just like that little girl crying and holding on to her sister, then her dad pushed onto her, and she was just in fear for her life. You have all these grown adults screaming at them, and to be honest, Tim, that moment took like a mental toll on me, because right after that situation happened, then the brutal knockout happened, seeing the guy get stomped out, then seeing the elderly couple get threatened. For me as a reporter, I don't know, it never really happened to me where it just was like it was almost like enough was enough. I was at a point where it's like I don't even know how much more I could show my audience anymore of what's going on, and it was just too much for me.
They attacked a caravan of Trump supporters in New York, and I think it was a woman. She went to a car and pepper sprayed the kids in the car. She just started spraying. That's crazy. Yeah, these people are deranged. So I think there were people who voted for Joe Biden thinking that things will go back to normal. Everything's going to go back to normal. It's not going. There's no normal. This stuff's going to get crazier.
Imagine if the only reason you did vote for Biden was to put an end to the unrest.
And now you've just gotten rid of the only guy who said, I will stop this.
Exactly. What's interesting to me is that this is now Joe Biden's America. If this is your president-elect, this is what your president-elect has come up with.
It's not just that. It's that Joe Biden should have come out and said, I reject this violence on the Trump supporter. I'm going to be the president. No, he didn't do it. Biden didn't. Did he say anything about it?
Not that I saw.
Nothing. Dude.
He's not going to be the president for all Americans. He's going to be the president for his base. There's two, as Brian Stelter likes to say of CNN, alternate realities. Although he said, I'm not going to say alternate reality because they live in fictional reality. Okay, bro. I think you live in a fictional reality too. But it is true, man. I read the news all day, and it really is. When we talk, Scott Adams puts it better. It's, what do you say, one screen with two different movies playing at the same time.
And they're two different Americas, Tim. I've been to both political campaigns, and I mean, just even the voters, it's a completely different America when you're hanging out with each one.
You know what? The left likes to say, oh, Tim talks about civil war too much. Mother Jones put out an article saying our political civil war will just keep getting worse.
Definitely.
Like, that's Mother Jones. They're a leftist, and they're saying political civil war. Okay, well, what do you call it when people are attacking kids and pepper spraying kids?
Here's a question for you. In 1968, did we say there was a civil war afoot when the violence at the Democratic convention? I'm just wondering.
I was too, because I actually just said to Jorge, it feels like 68.
But that's different. That was the police versus protesters. We're talking about two different realities where the news on one side is saying Biden is president-elect. Kamala Harris hasn't even resigned her Senate seat, has she?
No. Not that I know of right now.
I think a lot of people hated Nixon in 68. I mean,
for sure. And then you had the Kent State shootings. Things were really, really bad.
And the weather underground and the bombings all over college campuses and stuff like that. And this is going to continue. One election of Trump or election of Biden wasn't going to change. I've been trying to prep people for this notion that this is just one small skirmish, the election for the president, one small skirmish in a conflict that has been going on and building for more than 10, 15, 20 years now, is going to keep going. These are giant tectonic plates at work. These are not little things that can be fixed in a minute.
So there's this research program called Transparency Tube, where they basically try and sort all the different YouTube channels, and they say that anti-woke is right-wing, meaning you can be a socialist, but as long as you think critical race theory, Antifa, the violence is the worst thing affecting our country, they'll call you right-wing. That's the current, the point is, it seems like nothing makes sense in terms of who's on whose side other than the tribes have been drawn.
And like I said earlier too, Tim, we're living in the realignment. Like I said, that moment kind of hit me when, I'm on Black Lives Matter Plaza just doing my regular reporting, and then I just see, all the liberals and everyone just celebrating Joe Biden's victory. They're popping champagne. And for me, I was like, you guys are popping champagne for the guy who voted us into the Iraq war, who was a vocal advocate for that war, then took us from 2 wars to 7. I'm like, what are we watching right now? Now the right wing is anti-war. It's just the total realignment that we're living through.
It's the weirdest. the people trying to quantify YouTube channels, bless their hearts. Like, there's no real way to do it. You can straight up be like, I'm all for universal health care, but man, these violent, rioters are dangerous, and the critical race theory is a horrible problem, and they'll be like, that's right wing. It's like, so who do I vote for? Because the Republicans aren't going to be in favor of progressive policy. It's like, one of the craziest things about it is they said that if you were one-sided on the issue of Brett Kavanaugh or like migrant caravans, and I'm like, so telling the truth about Brett Kavanaugh is right wing? That's nuts. That's where we're at.
Anything that you do to perpetuate the male-dominated patriarchy that's oppressive to women and minorities. No, that's true, right? It's like you're either racist or anti-racist. You're either feminist or you're an anti-feminist. You're either progressive or you're anti-progressive. You're
doesn't the natural conclusion of this just become war?
Yes.
Well, I think we're already at war. And that was
but
like
it's
when me and you met. It was the first conversation we had that night. I feel like this is war weariness. That people are going crazy, psychological problems, getting kids, sex changes when they're 6 years old. It just seems like people are going psychotic, going nuts. And I think it's because we've been at war for 20 years and we're not talking about it enough.
It's honestly the full blown culture war.
It's the cultural war. Yeah. It's not about, look, I'm mad about our excursions in the Middle East, but this is about, there's been something happening. And it's probably a lack of trust in media, I think, started it. Conservatives particularly knew that they weren't getting fair framing. And that's where it starts. Yep. Framing, right? So Donald Trump throws the food into the koi pond. And then everybody makes fun of him saying, what's he doing? You're supposed to put a little bit. What a moron. Literally, the camera framed it that way. Because when you zoomed out and watched the full footage, Trump was just doing what Shinzo Abe was doing. He's like, when in Rome, he threw the food and I'll throw the food next. They framed it a certain way. So conservatives see that and say that wasn't true. That was falsely framed. So they stop watching. Now it's getting even crazier where Fox News, their ratings are dropping like crazy. They're burning subscribers as people move to Newsmax. Greg Kelly on Newsmax is getting 1 million viewers at night. Yep. This is rivaling now some of the biggest news networks. It's massive. Brian Stelter gets all angry. He's like, this is a threat to democracy, these disparate realities. And it's like, within reason, yes. I think the bigger threat is that the mainstream media has given up on telling us the truth. Like, how many of these outlets report on the fact that kids were being attacked in DC?
I haven't seen. I'm being honest. I haven't seen it.
So people know, if you want to know the truth, you can't go to these networks. And so naturally, they're going to go to places like Newsmax.
Well, only some people know that, right?
I haven't seen Washington Post even mention not one of those attacks.
Yeah, no. And that's why I go out in the streets, man. That's why you're out there too, is because somebody has to be there to witness. That's what they confront me on the street. Whose side do you want? Whose side do you want? And I'm like, bro, I'm here to witness.
Yeah.
Witness what? Just to witness.
Like, Tim, if I was out there and there was Trump supporters beating up and stomping Black Lives Matter people, I would show the public, like, hey, this is what Trump supporters are doing.
Right. Because you're not a political dude.
Yeah, but it wasn't that. And
but bro, this is what's funny. When we had you on the first time, you were with the riot squad, right?
Yeah.
So like Richie and Shelby, and you were like, oh, I'm not really political. I don't know a whole lot about this. And it's like, bro, if you come out and start saying, man, these leftists were attacking people, boom, you're right wing.
Yep.
That's it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm already labeled with it, so might as well write a full send.
That's
right, Jack?
Full send.
No cap.
No cap, full send.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.